Whenever I have felt lost and confused, it was because I forgot my intent and I lost sight of my dream. This has been true for me in all of my pursuits. Whenever I lose focus on something that's more important, something that I really value and is really meaningful for me, my motive sways. I kind of forget why I'm doing what I do. And it's hard to persevere when things get tough. It's just a painting company, right? Like, it seems a little bit intense, this kind of a quote for just a painting company. But I'm telling you, if you want to create something good, something that lasts, something that is valuable to the marketplace and valuable to other people, you have to have a higher why, a higher purpose to guide you. I promise you it'll help. This next 4 video trainings is part of a module on purpose and mission and vision. And in this particular video, we're just going to break down what all of this is, so that for the next following videos, we can really start to craft your personal vision, mission, purpose, and the principles that are going to guide you on your journey. So let's get into it. This video is for leaders of the company. Pretty much any business or organization in the 21st century, I think, has to be a lot more meaningful and purposeful as we move forward. And this video is great and foundational for new entrepreneurs looking to start a business, both painting entrepreneurs and just general entrepreneurs if you happen to be watching this. We're going to cover in this video the 4 reasons why mission, vision, and principles are crucial to establish in business. We're going to define mission, vision, and principles. We're going to talk about where purpose fits into all of this. And I'm just going to cover the difference between brand promises and company values. Hopefully you're familiar at this point what just brand promises are in general in business. But if not, that's okay. I'm going to just define it, and I'll just give you an example of our brand promises at my business, my personal painting company, Colorcraft. So we can look back throughout human history and see that all the greatest movements, the greatest armies, and the greatest companies have demonstrated the power of a unifying purpose, a compelling vision that energizes teams into alignment, calling forth their most effective inner forces. What we need is a unifying force to use as a bullseye for all of us to hit. It's the why. We need a meaningful target that gets people to go the extra mile and strive for greatness. This is what we need from our people. This is what we need from ourselves. This is what we need from our teams and our painters and our job site managers and our salespeople. We want to have everyone striving for something more. And that is what's actually going to create the best results for everyone in the community. So why vision, purpose, and principles are crucial to establishing your business. So one of the first mistakes, entrepreneurial mistakes in general, is that a lot of entrepreneurs set out to solve small problems, small uninspired problems. And if you want to do that, it pretty much requires no vision, no mission, and you don't need any principles. But without the vision to rally the culture around, there really is no motive to unite the team together to build something with passion. You don't need to do all the any of this stuff if you just want to build something that's uninspired and it's not really going anywhere. So, and this, when you kind of make this mistake, the whole thing just ends up kind of being about money, which is important, but it's not the thing that's going to drive people to really band together and create something. Next is that small begets small. If you think small, you get small. And remember, big does not need to be about money. It does not have to be money oriented. It does, however, need to fuel you and your team from the inside. Something has to be driving all of this. And wealth goals alone usually won't do it. This is something that I have learned personally by grasping after wealth goals and hitting my targets and finding emptiness at the end of them. It's not that it doesn't matter, but it's as I'm getting more and more wealth in general, I have my needs taken care of and more, and it's just like needs to be something more to drive me than just the money's just going to happen all on its own anyways if you just stay in business long enough and you keep improving and getting more skills. So you might as well just focus on the deeper inner calling, which will actually end up having better creation, and you'll create more, just better tools overall and a better company. But money alone is just a lousy way to lead your team. The other reason why it's really important to establish your vision, your purpose, and your principles is it gives you a grounding in a more meaningful world perspective. Now more than ever in history, the goals that you pick in your life, they have to be in consideration of something bigger than just self-serving attainments. We're learning that statistically, not statistically, but I guess through studies, we are learning that attainment and self-serving stuff is not going to give you the deeper personal fulfillment that you want. At this time in history, it's the 21st century. We're the year 2022, and the world needs your help. The earth needs your help, and without this kind of more holistic feel, even if it's just a painting company, without this factored into the long-term vision and perspective of how you're going to help people beyond just making money, you'll do a lot more damage than good if you don't have this kind of an outlook. So you really have to do the inner work, and you have to realize that you have a deeper purpose and you have gifts that you can offer, and you can do this through your painting company. So that's what I'm doing, and that's what I encourage you to do and others to do. The next reason why it's important to have to really take the time right now to refine your vision, purpose, and principles is that we want this to be embedded into the DNA of the company and of you. The purpose and principles will be embedded in all the aspects of the organization and the culture. That's what we're going for. The more time you take for this process, and the more you really deeply contemplate what matters to you, the better that it's going to go, and the more embedded this stuff is going to be in the DNA of the company, and the more you're going to love the company. And that's really the main thing. The more you love it, the more you'll work on it, and the more time you'll spend in it, and it just becomes this integrated thing where you're living your purpose and passion through the business that you're creating. And like me, we're all painting entrepreneurs, so that's what we're doing here. So the purpose and principles that you come up with, they're going to end up being these guiding pillars for how people on the team make the day-to-day decisions. So taking the time right now to deeply think on these principles and the purpose will shape everything to come in the business. This will shape the behavior of everything. So taking the time now, which you're doing if you're still watching this video, I think you're really going to see the benefits of it. So I mentioned it a second ago, the self-serving mission. Many problems arise from having a poor self-serving mission that does not pull the whole team together in the same direction. This is usually a result of a mission that is born from a place from less than your highest self. So just from the ego self and just chasing and trying to acquire and trying to gain for just me. If you follow that pattern, people can tell that you're following that pattern. And even if you do succeed in that pattern, you won't actually realize more benefit from that. You're not going to have more fulfillment from that. So this is why the deeper inner work of self-realization is also ultimately very essential for creating a thriving culture. When individuals have done their inner work and they're drawn together around a truly meaningful, life-enhancing mission that resonates with the soul, everything else can evolve naturally from there. So our goal here is to have a purpose and mission that touches the heart and soul and inspires our teams. As pillars to support that mission, we're going to install principles. So if the core values or principles, these are the soul of the organization, the core purpose is what's going to give it the heart. The purpose answers the ageless question, why? Why do we do what we do? Why is anyone on the team that you have doing what they do? That's the fundamental question. So contemplate that right now. Think for a second. Why do you and your company exist other than for the purpose of making money? Why does what you do matter? And what difference are you making in the world? So really take a minute to contemplate that. Why does what you're doing matter? Why does it matter that you get up in the morning and do your job other than just trying to pay your bills? Why would your customers or the world miss you if you weren't around? So these are some of the questions we want to be thinking so that we really are grounding into a foundations that we can build on. As we get answers to these questions that are actually meaningful to us, we can really build a company around that. We can build a really awesome painting company around this. I mean, a painting company it's an essential service. It's something that's not going anywhere. The whole trick is to make it deeply meaningful to you and your team and to learn things beyond than just the actual painting itself, right? There's so much to business. There's so much to life. And you can really create a playground for people to learn and grow. So this core, asking these kinds of questions is the true acid test of a company's purpose and whether it really matters. If you want your company to be successful, it has to matter to you, and it has to matter to other people. It has to mean something. Research is showing that if you ignite and capture the heart of your team and not just the head, you'll get 40% more output in that effort. A few years ago, I actually did a study, and it wasn't a big formal study or anything, but I was kind of in this early stage trying to understand this stuff. And what I found is that there was 3 kinds of companies. There were companies that they didn't really have a mission. And that's actually the case with most painting companies. There's no mission. There is no purpose. There's no principle. Well, there's a purpose. Obviously, it's to paint houses, but there's no principles to guide the team. They don't really have a vision of where they're going or anything. They're just painting houses. And, that's fine. But they don't have a mission. So there's that kind of company. There are companies that have a really well-defined mission that's written and it's in the company headmast. But if you were to actually go and talk to someone in that company and ask them about their mission and the purpose and the principles, they wouldn't know what it is. So it's really just these companies, they have a mission, but nobody's living the mission. Nobody's really involved or engaged in it or even cares or knows what it is. It's just kind of written there because it's something that you do as a part of, that's just something you should do, is write a mission. And to be honest, until recently, that's kind of how I was feeling about our mission at Colorcraft, is I had a mission just because I should, but what I came to realize is it wasn't resonating in me. And if it's not resonating in me, then how am I supposed to share that and get that involved into the culture of the company and into my team? And the answer is that I can't. I have to be the one that's leading this charge. So this is where a lot of companies are. They've got a mission perhaps, but if you were to ask somebody on the team, tell me what the mission or what's the mission, they'd say, oh yeah, just it's on our website. Go check the website. They're not living the mission. The next one is companies that live and breathe the mission. Everyone on the team is totally engaged with it. And everyone knows it by heart. They're speaking it through the way they communicate with customers, with each other. It's something meaningful that everyone can really describe and express. So mission, vision, and values, or principles. So we're going to go through these and just kind of go a little overview of what each of these are and, what comes first. So what comes first? A vision or a mission? So take a second here to think about that. What comes first? A vision or a mission? Well, the answer is neither. It's actually the purpose that comes first. Purpose comes before everything. This is really what gets the entrepreneur to do anything in the first place, is to even have an idea to start something. There's some driving thing. There's a why beneath everything. Like for you, if you're watching this and you have a painting company, there's something that got you to start it. There's some sort of a reason that got you involved in the first place. That is the purpose. That is the spark that gets everything else going. So everything starts with a purpose. Without a purpose, we have nothing to will our way towards. Once we feel purposeful, we can have a vision about our purpose, and we can project that vision outward as an expression of how that purpose can best be lived. Only then can we gradually and methodically develop towards it. So with Colorcraft, my business, there was a thing. I actually grew up as a painter, right? I painted houses when I was in university, and it was one of my favorite jobs I ever had. I was a crew leader. I was on a productivity system, And I just loved going to work and learning how to be more efficient. And I would get paid more with being more as I improved my productivity. We tracked all that stuff, and there's something deeply meaningful and nostalgic about why I ended up starting a painting company again later in my older life. And the company I was with at the time was called College Pro Painters, and it was a franchise company, but painting was actually the vehicle for leadership development. So it was a young an entrepreneurial hub for young people to learn business skills, and they used painting as the vehicle for teaching business. And yeah, it's a very nostalgic experience where I made a lot of friends. I had all these young entrepreneurial friends that we all did this thing together, and there was a lot of meaning in it and a lot of deep friendships that were forged. And I moved on from that. Obviously, it was a young person's thing, but for me, this whole why I even started Colorcraft again in the first place is that there was something really beautiful about it, and I really liked the job. I think it's the only job I really I had a couple jobs in my life, and that was the one I really liked, is when I was personally a painter. So that's kind of the purpose that sparked me to want to start this thing, right? And to kind of recreate what I had when I was very young. So that's the purpose. It all starts with a purpose, and you have a purpose and a reason why you started your company. And that's what we want to start diving into and really refining and bringing to the surface. What is the purpose? So the purpose is this is not typically a business term. It's something more personal. And every person who's really on your team has their own purpose. They have their own reason why they're participating in your organization. They have a reason why they're a part of your company. So after that purpose is kind of fired up, then the vision will start to emerge. Not everyone's a visionary, so some people really have to actually take the time to create that vision. Like visionary people, the vision will just kind of happen all on its own. But if you're not like that, you really have to create a vision and think, where am I going to be with this business 5, 6, 7 years, 10 years from now? And that creates the landscape for creation so that you can start building your company. So the vision will determine the mission. That is the next thing. You can reverse this stuff. This is not like a bulletproof formula, but in this case, the way we're working through it, it's the purpose that comes first. From there, the vision will emerge. And then from that vision, we can determine the mission of the company. The vision is like the bigger picture. It's a future orientation, while the mission is a much more immediately focused on the present kind of a thing. So the vision defines the end game, and the mission ends up kind of being the roadmap that's going to get you there. Like this, we're going to go on this mission to get to this vision. That's the way we're laying this whole thing out. So your mission is what you do and how you're going to do it. Your vision, on the other hand, is why and the long-term vision for your work. The long-term vision for what you are going to spend the next however many years creating. So don't let the business be like many other painting companies. Don't let your business be like many other painting companies that have fallen into this gray area of uncertainty and just directionlessness, right? This is all about creating a foundation. For whatever reason, it gets left behind. People don't take the time. And I have just literally spent the last 3 weeks building this presentation and just deepening into my personal purpose with my own personal painting company and where we're going as a company. And I feel so much more fired up, like way more fired up. And I'm going to show you the whole process that I've gone through and like what I've created for our business. But don't skip this step. It is a foundational piece, just as important as building a sales process, which we will cover in another video. But don't skip this step is what I'm saying. This next 3 or 4 videos are all about this, building your vision, mission, and principles and getting clear on that purpose. So take the time now to clearly define the vision, the mission, and the company principles. Doing this work will enable you to guide and align your internal teams, which is necessary in order to establish a deep emotional connection and provide the intellectual direction that the team members are seeking. So, really simplified, here's the overview. A purpose statement answers why we exist. A vision statement answers where and what we aim to achieve. Where are we going? And then the mission statement answers how. How do we plan to achieve this vision? How are we going to do it? So vision and mission are very commonly misunderstood. An easy way to remember the difference between vision and mission is just to add a re at the end of each term. So an example would be a visionary is the one who sees into the future and can visualize a clear destination. A missionary, you hear that with a lot of religious terms, but a missionary is one who helps realize the vision. They go on a mission to go and spread the vision. Like with missionaries in the church, they go and spread the word of God. They're on a mission to spread the word of God, which is the vision of creation. So next we have the vision. So vision is the highest level purpose within the organization. It captures what the organization is going to look like long term if you are 100% successful in everything. So this is where it's aspirational. This is where we want to be in 3, 5, 10, 15, 20 years even, right? And once you start thinking in these terms, 10 years out, first of all, it gives you more time to really be like, okay, I have time to build things patiently, but also like build high quality stuff that's going to last, build your organization to last, build your business to last. And vision statements honestly don't change that much throughout the lifetime of a business usually, because it takes a lot of time to get momentum going in one direction. A vision statement, and if it's driven from a deeper purpose, the vision will be very meaningful. The vision statement is usually quite concise so that it can easily be remembered, and it should not be easy to achieve in the short term. So the vision paints a compelling picture of what the organization will look like at a specific time in the future. So 1, 2, or 5 years, or whatever you're going for. And it answers the question, where do we aim to be? So if you're going to create a vision statement, first you have to have the vision. So you have to dream. And when you're developing the vision statement, the following questions can help guide you. So what do we want to do going forward? When do we want to do it? How do we want to do it? Some of the features of an effective vision statement, they include that it paints a clear, inspiring, and unambiguous picture of the future. So it's very clear what it is, where we're going. It's realistic. You don't want it to be like easy, but it's doable, but it's, you're going to have to really work to make it. So it's aspirational. It's achievable. And there's a time on it. Like it's time bound, kind of like a SMART goal, right? There's a time limit to the goal. You want these the vision statements to be memorable and engaging for yourself and your team, and shareable. And it's got to be in alignment with the organizational values and culture, which it will be because we actually derive the principles and the values from the vision and what's being created. And we build the culture around like where we're going, right? A culture that's going to be able to serve the long-term vision of the organization. So all of this plays into that where you're going with your business, with your painting company. Next is the mission. The mission clearly communicates what your business does. It's a summary of the organization's purpose, the means that you will use to achieve the purpose. It should clearly identify who the business serves and the unique contribution the business makes in the world. So a mission statement talks about how you will get to where you want to be. It defines the primary objectives related to your customers and or your team's values. And it answers the questions, what do we do? What makes us different? So that's a little bit about a mission. So if you're creating a mission, you'd ask yourself things like, what do we do? What are we doing? What do we do right now? For whom do we do it? What is the resultant benefit of the work that we do? How do we bring this work to life? So right now you would want to review these answers and just feel into what is arising within you right now. and just look a little bit deeper at the patterns of what you feel when you think about this. What is the mission of what I'm doing at our painting company? Notice any words that give you a fuzzy feeling or an intuitive kick or a gut feeling that make you feel like this is right or this is in alignment, right? You're trying to find the right mission that is going to drive and propel you forward. And, this stuff doesn't have to be perfect the first time. First, you're going to get this stuff all down, and it's probably going to change. I know mine has changed, and it might change again, but as you keep doing this type of work, it starts to not change, and it starts to get quite clear. And when you get that deep level of clarity, life gets real simple, put it that way. There is an evolution of a mission. Like they can change, and they do change. In my experience, it's changed not so many times, but my missions have changed in the different businesses that I've run, because you realize that it wasn't quite in resonance. It wasn't exactly quite capturing it. But it's always still important, just to, even when it wasn't the perfect mission, it still gave me a guiding force for what I'm doing. So this was actually my original mission at Colorcraft. It was to provide beautiful aesthetics for the communities where we work. And I think it sounds pretty nice and everything. I like the word aesthetics. I really, with Colorcraft, when I created the name for the business, it was just color your neighborhood and color your home, and just we bring color and joy to the neighborhoods, and we make people's houses look really beautiful, right? So at first I really liked this mission, but as I kind of thought about it more and felt into it, I realized it wasn't really inspiring me. It wasn't driving me to, this is what I'm up to, this is what I'm doing. And I think it's very outward facing, this particular mission. It's very this is about the customer specifically. The new mission, which I'm going to show you later in a bit here, is very inward facing. It's really about me and my team, and that's, I think, who really is most important when we're inspired and we're on a mission. I think that is actually how we'll serve the customer the best. So my mission has evolved from this, but this was the original mission, and it's okay to have a mission that evolve, right? Once we have that vision, we know we have a mission in order to, a vehicle to get to our vision. And then the next thing that kind of emerges are the principles, or, a lot of people call them the values. So athletes, they need a strong core and midsection to provide overall stability, power, and control. The same is true for companies. Without a strong core, the organization risks instability, loss of focus, disengagement, and a lack of heart as it scales up. And just as the human core is centered around the lower back muscles, the oblique muscles, the abdominal muscles, the center of an organization is centered around the core principles, the mission, the vision, and the core competencies. So this is especially true when a company gets to be around the 50 to 70 employee level, and senior leaders no longer really know everyone by name. At this point, it really becomes critical to clarify the core and communicate it effectively and consistently. So we call the core the principles or the core values. So, in the company I was in before Colorcraft, I was actually part of a franchise company. I was the first investor in a franchise cleaning company, and I actually watched this firsthand, because when we started, I was the only franchise company there was. It was just me, and I bought up the first couple of cities, and it was me and the founder and a few other people, and there was very tightly knit culture. The values and the principles, these were all kind of just forming and really becoming clear what we were going to stand for and how we were going to deliver what we do and what made us different. And we ended up getting bought up by a bigger company a few years later, and I really watched how the culture, because this was a large company with hundreds and hundreds of people, and I watched how the whole personality and the culture from a person-to-person basis changed, and it became corporate. But they were also a company that had very strong principles built into the culture. And if they didn't have that, I can't even imagine what the company would have been like. But it was very different from when we were small, but it was still existent. And I think that's what really matters, is that if you don't get this foundational work in while you have like 5, 6, 10 employees, by the time you have, if you're looking to go into like the bigger numbers and run a multi-million-dollar painting company, if you don't have this stuff built into the culture from the beginning, to install this stuff into the culture later is, I don't even know if you can do that. Like, how do you do that? I don't even want to think about how you would do it, but if you don't refine it from the beginning the way you want it, then the leadership team is going to be scattered. And I honestly don't even think you'd get to that stage, because businesses without this kind of foundational work done, I don't believe they do get to that stage. So kind of getting back here to this, that was a little bit of a rant of my personal life and life in business. But like I said, principles is just another word for values. And they're really the beliefs to help guide and support the mission of the business. So I like to think of them like pillars. They're like these supporting pillars that give a boundary. And when they're really strongly shared and held by the leadership team, these principles will define how the business and the team will treat people, and how the business is going to approach its work. And one of the most important parts is how the business deals with really tough decisions, which, as you grow and just as by being in business in general, there are going to be tough decisions. The principles and the values give direction on how to deal with those tough decisions. So the principles that you install kind of act as the boundary within which the organization will operate in pursuit of the vision. So it's important to distinguish between core values, those on which the organization will never compromise and is willing to pay a price to uphold, and aspirational values, those that your organization has yet to live up to in the day-to-day operations. So it's kind of like you want to live by these principles, and they're both important, but be very honest with yourself where you are, right? What principles are we actually really living, and they're resonating deeply in my heart as the leader, and which ones are actually just, that's where I want to get to. Because I would still include those, but you definitely want to be installing some principles that you know and for sure that you're currently already living at your business. So to be meaningful, values must be described in clear behavioral terms. So you'll see this when we look at some of my ones, but that's how we want to build our principle statements. Once we've done all that work, only then do we really get into business planning and strategy. Because in a lot of ways, strategy should be a reflection of who the company is, right? Doing the vision, the mission, the principles, the purpose, all of that gives context to what is being created. And not every strategy is going to be a good fit for the culture of how to deliver on all that stuff. But I think once you kind of have this foundational, like philosophical kind of work done, it fuels the heart, and then it also now allows that you can focus on the business and pick actual strategies that are complementary for where you're going, for the journey ahead. And this we cover more in detail with the one-page strategic plan, and actually building the business plan, and then building and breaking down the entire vision all the way down into like literally monthly, weekly, and daily action steps. That is what strategy is. But strategy comes in after all of that other foundational stuff is done. So strategy, a clear plan that describes the path by which an organization intends to reach its vision. Strategy determines such things as resources, priorities, organizational structure, and what issues get daily attention. For this, we use the one-page strategic plan. So, in painting, the very highest level strategies that you need to decide for yourself is, are we an exterior residential repaints company? Are we an interior residential repaints company? Are we a commercial repaint company? Are we doing a new construction as our niche? Are we subcontracting as our niche? Or do we have internal employees as our... These are all things to consider. And make sure they align with who you are as a company and where you're going, right? You can't, there's a whole bunch of different niches within painting. Which one is the one what are you guys actually doing? With us, I know that our core niche is exterior residential repaints for homeowners. That is our core business. We are the household company, the household brand for residents in our communities. People, that's what we aim to be, right? We're the clear brand leader for professional painting services from a residential point of view. So that's something you would need to decide in your strategy overall. So this is actually my one-page plan, my one-page purpose and vision statement plan. You summarize the whole thing, and this is actually what we're going to have you do as we work through these next 3 training videos after this one. So the problem that I see that really started a lot of this is that the painting industry is pretty much unprofessional and it's leadership restrained. So that's the problem that we're solving. And the purpose, this is something that's important to me personally, and what I've realized is important for all the people that I'm attracting now to the business, is our purpose is together to realize our leadership potential and actualize our dreams. So we want to develop as leaders, develop our skills, and use this company as a training ground for our personal development and to earn wealth so that we can actually follow our dreams and do much greater things in the future and even now, right? And this purpose addresses the core problem that we're trying to work on. So, we want to have more leadership in the painting industry. So we are going to realize our leadership potential. And that is why I'm doing videos like this. That is why I plan on continuing to do this stuff, is because it helps me grow and learn. And that's really why I'm in the business in the first place. Our vision as a company, so you can see how it gets a little bit more specific, and I've brought down my whole vision, which is a few pages. I've brought it down into one statement, right? Our vision is to do 5 million in 5 years, so 5 million per year within 5 years, split between 5 local franchises run by 5 community leaders. So the vision is really just to have a small group of leaders who are all running at least $1 million business per year. And we talk about life, and we talk about business, and we talk about, and we grow together, and we help each other, and we start more companies. So this is just one of our many businesses. I have another business called Foundations, which is a personal and spiritual development company where we do retreats and a whole bunch of other stuff that I love doing. And I wish to continue deepening into that and my investment life and all sorts of stuff. So Colorcraft is this hub where we develop leaders and franchise leaders and teach business. So that's the vision for the company. So our mission and our way of getting to this vision is to be the clear brand leader for professional painting services in the lower mainland of BC. So that is Colorcraft Painting's mission statement. Then comes all the supporting pillars, our principles, right? So number 1, client success is our success. So leaders earn trust and treat a client referral like gold, right? That's what it means. And I could go into detail in all. I'm not going to go into deep detail with all these. I'm just going to read them out. But they've all come from somewhere meaningful. It took a long time to really distill this one-page plan, purpose plan, so that it means something to me and so that I can communicate this now to my team in a succinct way. Number 2, play the long game. Rome wasn't built in a day. So I'm playing the long game here. I want this to be a long-term lasting company. I'm not trying to quickly flip it and sell it. I'm investing in systems for the long-term growth of this business and leadership development systems. And I'm willing to make short-term sacrifices for longer-term success. So that's principle number 2. Play the long game. This gives me time so that I can make videos like I'm making right now that are important to me, and they're helpful and they're useful for not just my team, but other but other business owners all over North America, that they can use this stuff and grow themselves. I'm not competing with anyone and all like other people. I have my own personal painting company, and then I'm helping other companies all over North America with doing their stuff. Number 3, incremental improvements and continuous training. So just improving the business a little bit every day, developing the leaders a little bit every day. So leaders ask themselves, are my fellow employees growing? That's a quick summary of that principle. Asking myself, am I helping my team grow? Number 4, focus and simplify. So do more with less. So my intention is to run a lean organization. My intention is to be highly profitable. So invest in the best equipment, the best stuff, the best leaders, the best painters. We're priced probably the highest in the market almost every time. Our quote is the highest. And the reason is because I want to pay the best painters. I want us to have fully uniformed staff, and we drive Sprinter vans that are fully branded, and we show up with the best equipment. But I want to be able to do more with less. And so the way to do that is to have fewer players, but really high quality people on the team. That's one of my principles to help me in this mission of being a brand leader. Number 5, extreme ownership. Own what you are responsible for delivering. So as specified in our employment agreements, know what you are responsible to do to drive the company forward and deliver. What are you responsible for delivering to the business? Own your role, own your job. I expect this of myself, and I expect this of my team. Empower leaders, number 6. So develop leaders, give them tools, and let them solve problems. So that is what my job is, right? I'm here to empower the leaders who I'm enrolling into the company. And the way I can do that is by building tools for them and then empowering them to solve all the problems that are going to arise. And they will be able to because we're developing leaders. Number 7, embrace and celebrate the journey. So don't forget that business creation is a process and it's not a destination, right? You don't go into business to finish being in business. That is something that I had to actually really learn the hard way. And when I say the hard way, it's just you realize that like you don't ever finish getting wealthy and making money and building systems. Like the bigger the business gets, the more stuff you got to build, and it just never ends. And you really have to fall in love with the process of being in business. You can't be in it for some end result. Well, you can, but you will always be chasing if you do that. So this principle is really about reminding myself and my team that business is about the fun of building and being in business. That's why we want to be in business. Number 8, radical transparency. So honesty and transparency, even if it hurts up front. So this principle just means that if we're going to grow and if we're truly committed to our personal development, then we need to be honest with each other and we need to be honest with ourselves. And either people need to move on from our business or they need more coaching. And we're a coaching heavy company. So, that's how you look at everyone in the business is let's just be honest with where we are and then learn and grow and to have incremental improvement. We need to just be honest and then try and get better. And you can only get better if you're honest with where you really are. Number 9, deliver results. So run business by the numbers. Let's be data oriented and track things, be very tracking oriented. So my background is in finance and I really like the numbers, right? So let's just be honest through the numbers, where we are, how's everyone doing? What are the productivity rates? What's the gross profit? What's our net promoter score? How many reviews have we gotten this week? So how many leads came in and what's the sales ratio? Like all this stuff needs to get tracked. So if you want to deliver results, you got to know the numbers and run business by the numbers. Number 10, think big. So small thinking self-fulfills. So for me, I want to inspire with big and bold. I want to, my vision's only 5 million right now, but in a few years when we realize that, then we'll change it and have a new vision, and that's on and on it goes. But I want to continue to think big so that I feel that kind of butterflies in the stomach of like, okay, here we go, right? I don't want to be complacent. I want to have fun with that feeling, kind of like when you're skydiving or something, right? So here's some guiding criteria for when you're making purpose statements. And as I said, this video right now is not specifically about this. We're not doing the process of making all this stuff right now. We're going to get into that in videos 2 and 3 of the vision, mission, purpose module. But your statements can be relevant forever. That's something that I think I kind of like to consider, is that the statement might not actually ever be attainable. It just creates a desire for the team. Right? So if you look at some of those statements I had here, like, you don't finish any of these. Some of them, but it's just like, it's not about finishing it. It's just these guiding principles for the business. It doesn't have to be about business. You don't have to make it business oriented. In fact, I encourage it not to be that way. A lot of these are focused on people, either internal teams or customers. Bigger than the individual. So a lot of these is not just about me, right? It motivates in a way where people are excited to get up in the morning and take charge of the day. It speaks to the human soul. And the other thing you'll notice is it's not competitive. I wouldn't make the principles competitive. Other organizations can have similar purposes if you focus on competition. Just make it about you and your business and your vision, and like what are the things that will support the attainment of that vision and moving towards this vision, which is created on some deeper purpose. Last thing I'll touch on is brand promises. So what is the difference between company values or principles and brand promises? So think about that. You might already know the answer, but the basic difference that the way I differentiate it is that principles are inward facing. Principles are really for me and my team and the people. That's because they're guiding us in our decision making and what we're doing in the business. Brand promises are outward facing. So these are the things that our customers care about. So if you kind of notice that, like, if you think about the principle, like all the other stuff, right? You got the purpose, the vision, the mission. The customer doesn't really care about all that stuff. Our customers, I know exactly who our avatar customer is. They care about getting their house painted perfectly and beautifully and on time and professionally. So they're not really that concerned with all our principles, and we're playing the long game, and we're going to empower leaders and, think big and all that stuff. They don't care that much about that. So we're not marketing that stuff to them. All that one-page summary is for me and my team. The brand promises are deeply important based on some form of research generally to our customers. So at Colorcraft, those promises are deliver what we promise. That's the first thing that I have this on our marketing material. It's on our website. I have it when we do in-person quotes. It's on the fold. Like we do tangible physical quotes, but then we also have with really beautiful presentation folders. And then we also do digital quotes that are also really aesthetically nice and everything. And this is right on the interior cover of the folders. Deliver what we promise. We do these detailed quotes. And then the next thing to do is we deliver what we said. If you sign this contract, this is what we're going to do, and it's very important to us. We promise that we're going to deliver on what we say we're going to do for you. The next thing that's important to customers that I have come to see is that it's having a clean, organized job site, right? It's not a mess while we're working on your home for 2 weeks, potentially. If you're doing a big $20,000 job or $15,000 residential home, we're going to be there for a couple of weeks, potentially. So we have nice organized job sites, and we clean up at the end of every single day, and it's packed away, and there's a nice big gazebo with like Colorcraft branding on it, and it's nice. This is something that's important to our customers. I can sell this. This is a feature with a benefit. We communicate up front. So everything is communicated up front. We don't have variable pricing. Very important to our customers. So these are our brand promises, which are outward facing. And then friendly uniform painters. Core competencies. This is something it's kind of from business school. If you're an investor, you'll notice this word gets tossed around a lot. What are the core competencies of the business? And they're kind of just the resources and capabilities that comprise the strategic advantage of a business. Also important to know for your business, right? What is your advantage over your competition? So a modern management theory argues that a business must define, cultivate, and exploit its core competencies in order to succeed against the competition. Usually a core competency has 3 attributes. It's not easy for the competition to imitate, right? So you can't just copy it really. So especially like personality. So brands, that's why we're building a brand, right? While everyone else is building a painting company, I'm building a brand. Now that is a core competency, right? Very few people are actually building a brand in the painting industry. They're just kind of building painting companies. So another attribute would be that it can be reused widely for many products and markets. I have an education company called Colorcraft Academy, so I can reuse the Colorcraft brand, and it can be reused it's a totally different market segment. One is a painting company. We're building a brand for homeowners called Colorcraft Painting, but then the brand Colorcraft can be used as an academy to train entrepreneurs, painting entrepreneurs. So that's what's happening right now. I'm reusing the brand. That's a core competency. Core competency, it must contribute and benefit the customer experience and the value they receive. So, if you're building a brand, if that's my core competency at Colorcraft, is I have a brand which gives me the ability to price my jobs higher, the ability I can use it in different market segments for painting and for education or for entrepreneurs. And then how does it benefit the experience? Well, there's trust behind it. I'm building up like a whole personality for this brand, and that creates value. So these are just some basics on the attributes of a core competency. So you would want to ask yourself, like, looking at your own company, what are the core competencies? And if you're just starting out, and you're still like kind of in the smaller business realm, under $1 million, then you can just ask, you're kind of the core competency, you the leader. So you would ask yourself, what are the things that I have that are advantageous that I bring to the market, and ultimately I'm going to bring to my painting business. So at Colorcraft, the other thing that is a core competency, I would say, is that we attract young talent and provide opportunities for personal and professional growth. That's something that we do differently than a lot of the other competition, right? This is the first one I actually thought of, is what we do differently. Not everyone's doing that. Some of the student painting companies are doing that, but they're student painting companies. We're not a student painting company. We're providing long-term growth and opportunities for adults, young adults. So in closing, when all the players within the business are pointed in a singular direction, moving forward with aligned clarity of values and their unique contribution, friction will vanish, efficiency will accelerate, profits will rise, talents will peak, and the team will become more loyal. Each person more and more invested in the vision. Any company wishing to attract and retain this type of talent needs to nurse the team members on all levels. There needs to be a place not just to work, but to thrive around a greater purpose. So some of the action items before we close out here. Ask yourself. So these are not physical actions at this point, because this is more of an overview video. But ask yourself right now, where am I going as a company? Am I communicating the company's vision effectively with my team as of this moment? Do we have a well-defined company mission at this time? Ask yourself that right now. Number 3, as a business, do we have a well-defined set of values or principles that are guiding us in our decision-making right now? So if you do have these things, that's awesome. Good job. If you can always refine them and improve them, though. If you don't have them, then keep watching and check out the next video where we're going to go into actual vision, how to actually build your vision statement, and the actual greater vision. So it actually starts with building the whole vision, which is like that can be a 2 or 3 page document. And then you actually refine that down into a vision statement. So that is the essence of the next video. And that is the end of this training. And we will see you in the next one.